Welcome into the Fantasy Football Diagnostics Podcast, where we provide you with your weekly diagnosis of everything fantasy football. Whether it's season-long leagues, dynasty, DFS, or sometimes even IDP, we got you covered all year long. Let's do it. Let's get to it. Welcome into the Fantasy Football Diagnostics Podcast. And of course, I'm your host, John June. And on this lovely Thursday evening, before it gets all snowy, got my guy here, Greg Penniman. Greg, how we feeling today?
Feeling real good. Week 18 is here. The last week of the regular season. I'm very excited for some playoff football. I usually really like the matchups that's coming about, but we gotta finish strong for those that are in that 2-week playoff and those leagues where they're in that week 18 finals. I mean, I was in one last year, and the reason why I got out is because I'm not about that life, but I'm here for the people that are about that life. So let's do it.
Yeah, absolutely. We got to be here for the people that unfortunately do have to live that life. But hey, reach out to your league commissioner. Let them know.
Just threaten to leave if the.
Unfortunately, this is not a good year to use the games as an example because we have a lot of competitive games, a lot of teams with something to play for.
Definitely.
Going into this weekend, whether it's seeding or it's potentially making it to the playoffs in general.
But imagine getting to like the finals with Joe Burrow, and then now you're here. Like, it's messed up.
Hey man, Brandon Allen might have to carry you the rest of the
way. Oh my God.
Well, like you said, week 18, we're gonna break down the Saturday games. We got 2 on the slate. Also gonna break down the 1 p.m. games here, and then we'll obviously do a part 2 on Saturday where we'll break down the remaining slate of games, which only includes Sunday football, no Monday Night Football, as that is over. So before we start, though, we're going to do our streams of the week. So, Greg, your quarterback stream of the week, what do you got this week?
Yeah, I mentioned during the waiver wire pod, going to go with Carson Wentz, going against Jacksonville. I believe he's 46% rostered. Just the matchup is good. A game that Indy really needs to win. They still have a chance to get in there. I think they're going to dominate either with Jonathan Taylor. He's going to get a lot of carries, but also I think Carson Wentz is going to have a lot to do with this. Definitely not the game he won last week, but 2 weeks ago, 225 and 2 touchdowns. I'm expecting more of that performance from him in this one.
Yeah, I almost went with Carson Wentz as well. I just, it's always going to be difficult with that because it could very well be a JT week any given day. But I'm actually going to go in the same game with my stream of the week, and I literally hate doing this, but Trevor Lawrence, 26% roster going up against Indianapolis. But unless you want to play Jordan Love, assuming Rodgers doesn't play, or Gardner Minshew, assuming Jalen Hurts doesn't play, Tyler Huntley, and assuming Tyler Huntley and Taysom Hill aren't available in your league, then I guess I could be convinced to play Trevor Lawrence, and I'm hesitant to even throw this one out there. But when I look at the list of guys available this week and the matchups, he's the only guy that's available that really stuck out to me. But yeah, Greg, what about a tight end?
Just bringing it full circle, man. I started Tyler Conklin, man. I feel like we used him a lot early in the year. Got to finish strong with him. Season high last week of 9 targets. That ties the season high. Had 5 receptions for 47 yards. I think he was a very good safety net. And Kirk Cousins should be back in this one. Got this matchup against Chicago. Not a very decent matchup. Chicago's been decent against tight ends this year, pretty good. But I think he's just been a safety net for quarterbacks this year. And he should be good to go.
Yeah, I like Tyler Conklin. I'm gonna go with Foster Moreau, a guy I went with last week. 22% rostered. Gets to go up against the LA Chargers, and this was the blow up spot that Noah Fant was in last week. And it comes at a kind of a good time here for Foster Moreau, who over these last 3 weeks averages has a 15% target share. And with this game script that that I'm projecting for this game. I see him with about 5 targets, and the Chargers have allowed at least 4 targets and at least 9.6 PPR points to the opposing tight end one over these last 3 weeks. I expect Moreau to have a nice fantasy day here.
Definitely like that.
Greg, what about a defense? And I feel like we might have the same one here, but what do you got?
Yeah, if I'm gonna go against the grain. I mean, not against the grain because Cleveland, I guess, is the easy answer going against Cincinnati. But I'm not. I'm gonna go with Washington. They're playing the Giants. You could take any defense playing the Giants, honestly, as you're streaming the week. It's just an offense that honestly is looking like a college offense. Like if they played Georgia, I really think Georgia could get some points on them with that D line and stuff. So Washington, think they get a couple points here for sure. They're only 25% roster, so they're out there. Definitely gonna get some turnovers, and they're not gonna allow a lot of points.
Yeah, you kind of threw me off the scent there when you started talking about Cleveland and Cincinnati, because I did consider that game. I did consider going to that game with obviously the situation potentially there with the backups, but I'm right there with you. I'm going with the Washington football team, 25% rostered, and they get to play against the Giants. So sign me up.
Yeah, sign me up, man. I guess any of these guys that are having these backup quarterbacks start, definitely pay attention to the news, and you can pretty much add one of them, and they won't kill you.
No, 100%. Definitely one of those things you're looking at Sunday morning, Saturday, depending on what game we're talking about. You can make something happen there. But let's jump into the games. And like I said, we got 2 Saturday games. The first one here, the starts at 4:30 p.m. We've got the 11-5 Kansas City Chiefs traveling to Denver to take on the 7-9 Denver Broncos. This game has a 45-point total, where your Kansas City Chiefs are 10.5-point favorites. Greg, in terms of the injuries here, Denver's okay. Kansas City, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, he's obviously dealing with that shoulder. He's expected to be out. And Lucas Nang, who's filling in for Orlando Brown, who suffered a calf injury in the game, pre-game before the Bengals game, he's also out. So if they don't have Orlando Brown, they don't have Lucas Nang. They're down their top 2 left tackles there. Greg, where are you at with this matchup here?
I'm gonna take the over. I'm gonna take Denver to cover, but I'm gonna take the Chiefs to win. This game is for Chiefs have a chance to get the 1 seed, so they're gonna try to go really hard. I know they want the Super Bowl, like the path to go through Arrowhead. A team should want that for sure. So on the Chiefs side, your regular people you're starting, not get cute in this situation here. Mahomes, Kelsey, Hill, Darren Waller. If he's gone, Clyde was still being hurt. He's actually deemed this out. So Darren Williams is RB1.
Darren Waller?
Darren Williams.
Okay.
Yeah. Darren Williams, RB1 for sure. Even in the tough matchup on the road against Denver, I still think he's a low on RB1 with the volume he's getting. And we already know Kelsey and Hill you're playing. On Denver's side, it's just the running backs I'm looking at, Javonte and Melvin Gordon, if he's able to go. I think both of them are able to go. So they're looking like those mid-tier RB2s for me. Obviously, one of them has RB1 upside if they can score a touchdown.
Yeah, I'm gonna take the over here. I'm going to take Kansas City to cover. Going to take Kansas City to win the game here. On the Denver side, Noah Fant has kind of been, he's been on a little bit of a run here. So I'm definitely going to have him in tight end 1 territory this week. They frustrate me so much with this backfield. It doesn't seem like they're going to hand it to anybody. But I will.
No.
I will always lean Javonte just because I'm wired that way.
He's also one of the leaders in missed tackles this year. He's just the better player. He is.
Yeah, but they just don't give him the ball. But he's a guy next year.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Is Melvin Gordon on like a contract year or something?
I think he is in the last year of his deal. So yeah. Cortland Sutton definitely gets a bump here this week with Drew Lock. He has a 21% target share over these last weeks. He loves Cortland Sutton. So if you need help at receiver, Maybe you don't have Devontae Adams, or you don't have because of maybe the Packers sit him, or maybe you don't have one of the Bengals receivers. Then I'm in the I could be talked into picking a Cortland Sutton up and start him with Drew Lock under center.
Facts.
Moving on to sorry, I didn't talk about Kansas City side. The Kansas City side is all the usual suspects for me: Mahomes, Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce, Darrell Williams, and Derek Gore. They're both in play, RB2 and RB3 respectively. Obviously, Darrell Williams has more upside, being how he gets the goal line work as well as the reception work as well. So Darrell Williams definitely obviously has RB1 upside, but I'm just ranking him as an RB2. Moving on to the next matchup here, Saturday, 8:15 p.m. We've got the 11-5 Dallas Cowboys traveling to Philadelphia to take on the 9-7 Philadelphia Eagles. This game has a 43-point total, and the Dallas Cowboys are 7-point favorites. In terms of the weather, we're okay on that front. In terms of injuries, for Dallas, left tackle Tyron Smith, everything defensive player, linebacker, Swiss Army defensive end Micah Parsons, and cornerback Anthony Brown are all on the COVID-19 list and are all expected to be out of this game. For Philadelphia, they've had a COVID breakout. Literally, I would probably be better served to tell you which players are probably expected to play or not on the COVID list. It's really hard for me to trust anyone on the Philly side because of that, but I will take the under here. I'm going to take Dallas to cover. I'm going to take Dallas to win. On the Dallas side, Dalton Schultz should have quite the day on Saturday. Dak looks to be in a bad spot on paper, but depending who Philly throws out there, we will know the answer on Saturday because they do play on Saturday night. He might not be such a bad play, depending if he might be playing against backups and third stringers. Zeke and Pollard, they're going to be the RB2s, with Zeke, getting a slightly higher bump for me, being the lead guy down there in the red zone. And then on the Philly side, I really don't want to recommend anybody because I don't know who they're going to play. I mean, given their playoff situation, they could end up the 6 or the 7 seed. It doesn't really matter for them. They've got this COVID situation. We know with this, new strain of COVID, the Omicron, that people have been physically exhausted. Tyreek Hill had talked about it. Some of these other guys that have come off the COVID list to play have, you've seen a dip in their production. So, even if these guys come back, can you even trust them to give you a strong performance here? I really don't know what to do. So, given everything, in the championship week, I'm probably going to sit Philly out.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the under as well. I'm going to take Philly to cover, but I'm going to take Dallas to win. On Dallas side, the Cowboys do have some seeding to play for. So I do think, Dak plays well as a lone QB1. Zeke and Pollard are both also, I agree with you in that RB2 category. And then the receivers, we treat them as the same. Hopefully CeeDee Lamb could just get something going. Hopefully he could just, I know, you didn't, it's crazy. I
didn't even mention them. I didn't even think to even talk about them.
I mean, with the rankings right now, Gallup being hurt, turning his ACL, Target's got to get a little bump to CeeDee Lamb, Cooper as well. I think Cooper could be really ranked higher at this point than Lamb. So I think I'm in that strong wide receiver 2 category for both of them. Schultz is going to definitely have a day. And on the Eagles side, I agree. Unless Boston Scott is playing, then I'm really not interested in any of them. I don't see them risking. This is a team that has really bad injury luck. So making it to the playoffs, they want to get there healthy.
Yeah, I will add 1 point to the receivers. I would be willing to play Sed Will.
That's true. That's a good point. Actually,
plays in the slot, and he gets targeted every time he's out there. So, moving on to the next matchup, let's talk about the 13-3 Green Bay Packers traveling to Detroit, take on the 13-1 Detroit Lions. This game takes place Sunday at 1 p.m. There's 45-point total, where the Packers are 3.5-point favorites here. This game takes place in a dome, so no weather concerns. In terms of injuries on the Detroit side, Jared Goff, he was limited with a knee injury. On the Green Bay side, Aaron Jones, he was limited with a knee injury. Aaron Rodgers was limited with a toe injury. There's a similar situation here where Green Bay, no matter what happens on Sunday, they are the 1 seed. They will walk into a bye, so they could potentially really give their guys 2 weeks off here, especially their veterans, especially guys like Aaron Jones and Aaron Rodgers who are dealing with some injuries. So, Greg, given all of this, where are you at with this game here?
I'm gonna take the under. I'm gonna take the Lions to cover, but I'm gonna still take the Packers to win. Yeah, I don't know if I really want anyone in this game except Amon-Ra St. Brown, honestly. And that's, if Swift's gonna play, then he's in low end RB2 category for me. But that would be about it. Yeah.
Yeah, I am gonna take the over here. I'm gonna take Detroit to cover, and I'm gonna take Detroit to win.
I don't think they want to mess up that. Is Detroit locked into the number 1 seed? Number 1 pick.
I feel like they should be. They're gonna be the only. They're the only. Oh no, there's another 2-win team.
Because they have a tie.
They do have a tie. Jacksonville is the other two.
I don't know, man. I can't see them messing this up, yo. I don't know.
But isn't a tie better? Jacksonville already has the number 1 pick because a tie is better than a loss.
You're right.
So
if Jacksonville loses, they have the number 1 pick.
Yeah, Jacksonville loses, they have the number 1 pick. And so, yeah, I think Detroit wins this game. I just feel like, playing against Green Bay's backups, potentially Detroit, like they play hard every game that they play in, regardless of who they're playing.
Yeah,
so
that's true.
This is going to be a good opportunity for them to get a win. Amon-Ra St. Brown, he's going to take it home for us. Maybe you could play Swift this week. They played him last week. He was limited in terms of his touches, his opportunities, but you got to maybe make the assumption here that he sees more work. A week later, right? Like he gets ramped up a little bit. So if you played him last week and you have no other options, I would be willing to throw him out there as a high upside flex. On the Green Bay side, yeah, similar boat for me here as Philadelphia. They don't need this game, so there's no incentive to play. So I would treat all these guys as like high upside players, because not high upside plays, like high, not even high risk or high reward. There's low ceiling outcomes with all these players, because really what you're banking on is that they come in, score a touchdown, and then they don't play again. If something like that happens, right? So I'm not really banking on any of these players to play.
Maybe I don't know, not your non-starters. So maybe Alan Lazard, or do they still have a Kwame St. Brown?
St. Brown maybe.
I can see them getting some DFS action though, for sure.
Josiah DeGuara, the tight end.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
I don't know who the issue is. What do you do with the running backs, right?
AJ Dillon.
AJ Dillon, right?
AJ Dillon.
But is he a starter? Is he good enough for them to be we should probably rest him? Because they don't have. Remember, they lost Kylan Hill. I feel like they lost the other running back.
He's definitely important for the playoff run. That's what they want. Just in Lambeau code and just getting it done with him. So maybe he's at starter level now. You're right. Maybe he sits too.
Yeah, so I would find out, especially if there's news about potential running backs getting activated off the practice squad, right? If Green Bay activates a running back off the practice squad, then whoever that third string guy is, potentially maybe get some work. And if you see Aaron Jones is inactive or something like that, or maybe they just go ahead and activate both of those guys, Aaron Jones and AJ Dillon, and they just make it kind of easy for us. So that would be really helpful for some Sunday morning DFS if you're doing that kind of stuff there. But and especially if you are in New York, where apparently we will be able to officially and legally online sports bet in the New York State area. So that'll be exciting for us here. Let's move on. Or I didn't. No, let's not move on. No, you talked about this game because it was very short and sweet. You said
Yeah.
his name was Amon-Ra St. Brown.
Yes, sir.
We'll move on to the next matchup here. We got the 6-10 Chicago Bears traveling to Minnesota to take on the 7-9 Minnesota Vikings. This game has a 45-point total, where the Minnesota Vikings are 3.5-point favorites. In terms of injuries, Justin Fields for the Bears was placed on the COVID list. Jakeem Grant was added to the injured reserve. And on Minnesota, they have a bit of a COVID breakout. Greg, where are you at in terms of this game here?
I'm going to take the under. I'm going to take Minnesota to cover and Minnesota to win. Also because I want Chicago to lose. I need that Giants need that second pick for the high value to get Russell Wilson. So going to take Minnesota to win as well. On Minnesota side, Kirk Cousins should be back. Ready to go. So I have him in that actually, mid-tier, actually high in QB2 territory. Dalvin Cook, RB1, they're going to give him the volume. Jefferson, you already know, wide receiver 1, top 2 play. And Tyler Conklin, my streamer of the week, should get some action, especially with down the stretch without Adam Thielen and stuff like that. He should get close to 10 targets again, hopefully. And on the Bears side, Dave Montgomery's probably the only one I'm looking. Oh, Darnell Mooney, of course, he's been really playing very well down the stretch. Give me wide receiver 2 value. And Dave Montgomery as well. Those two I'm looking at.
Yeah, I'm with you on the game here. We're gonna take the under. Gonna take Minnesota to cover, Minnesota to win. In terms of Chicago side, Dave Montgomery, he's in a wonderful spot here to close it out for these loyal managers. Top 6 running back for me this week. Darnell Mooney, definitely in wide receiver 2 territory, like you said. He's been on these last few weeks. And then Cole Kmet, he's borderline tight end 1. He did decent in this spot a few weeks ago. For Minnesota, Dalvin Cook, top 4 running back play. Jefferson, he's a wide receiver for sure. And then actually, I have Kirk Cousins, slightly outside of the startable range as a QB. He's the QB 20 for me this week. But being in such a good offense attached to a player like Jefferson, obviously he can definitely be in line. But Chicago has been, pretty good against quarterbacks in recent weeks. Granted, that could be due to their easy schedule as well. So let's move on to the next matchup. We've got the 9-7 Indianapolis Colts traveling to Jacksonville to take on the 2-14 Jacksonville Jaguars. This game has a 44-point total, where the Indianapolis Colts are 15.5-point favorites. In terms of injuries, Indianapolis is okay, as is Jacksonville. In terms of the game here, I'm going to take the under. I'm going to take the Colts to cover. I'm also going to take the Colts to win. For the Colts side, JT, he is the RB1 for me this week. Michael Pittman Jr., a wide receiver 2. That's really going to be, going to be it for me on the Jacksonville side. Unless, Indy side, unless you do need a quarterback, then I do think Carson Wentz is definitely in play. Laquan Treadwell on Jacksonville, he's a wide receiver 2 for me this week. He's been coming on lately. He's definitely been in. He's been in usable territory, but I think right now, like given this week and the situation at receiver, he's definitely a wide receiver 2. And Ogunbowale, he's a volume based RB2 for me. And then obviously Trevor Lawrence is my reluctant quarterback stream of the week.
Yeah, I'm with you on the game. I have the over though. I think the Colts is just going to destroy this team. Colts covering, Colts winning. JT should have, hopefully, they want to get in, so they got to bang it for 30 carries maybe for JT. He should destroy. I like Carson Wentz in this matchup to put up points, getting into Michael Pittman, who's a wide receiver 2 for me. And on the Colts side, I do agree with you with Laquan Treadwell. He's been a great streaming option the last couple of weeks, leading the team in targets and production as a pass catcher. And Dario Gumawale, mentioned him in the waiver wire a couple weeks ago. He's going to get that volume, at least 15 to 17 carries. So definitely got to sneak him into that RB2 category just based on volume.
Hey, 34-7 is still destroying and still hits the under. I thought about this.
True.
Let's move on to this next matchup. We got the 11-5 Tennessee Titans traveling to Houston, taking on the 4-12 Houston Texans. This game has a 43-point total. The Tennessee Titans are 10-point favorites. In terms of the weather here, we're okay. This game is in a dome, obviously. Actually, Houston's okay in terms of injuries. On the Tennessee side, the King is making his return. He's been designated from injury reserve, and of course, we're talking about King Henry, Derrick Henry, who has 972, I believe. I think that's the number. I'm going off memory here.
He's that contract incentive.
Rushing yard. Right? Like, I don't know if there's some incentive for a 1,000-yard season or something, but anyway, he's making his return. Greg, where are you at with this matchup here?
For this matchup, I'm going to take the over. I'm going to take Tennessee to cover and Tennessee to win. Talk about a game for Derrick Henry to come back to. You get Houston, like that's just a nice little tune-up for you right before playoff time. So I have slide Henry right back into that top 3 play. It doesn't matter. He's the best player on this team, one of the best players in the NFL. So I like him there. AJ Brown, I think he's going to get a high number of targets. You hopefully he can produce in this one. Tennessee should really want this number 1 seed. So I think falls into wide receiver 2 category for me. Of course, he has wide receiver 1 upside because he's AJ Brown. But I'm gonna rank him in wide receiver 2. And on Houston side, Brandon Cooks and Rex Burkhead. I mean, they've been doing it for people down the stretch. I think that's the play for people that have Houston players.
Yeah, I'm going to take the over here. I'm going to take Houston to cover. I'm going to take Tennessee to win the game here. On the Houston side, Brandon Cooks, wide receiver 1, Rex Burkhead, a running back 2. Probably where I'm going to stop it there. But on the Tennessee side, AJ Brown, he is a wide receiver 1. Deontay Foreman, I'm of the frame of mind. I don't think Derrick Henry comes back this week. Because could give him 2 weeks off, right? Like,
tune up, that's true. If they get the win, yeah, you should still get the win without him.
Right, you should still get the win without him. You're playing Houston, get the win without him. You get him another week off.
True.
And now you get Derrick Henry in the playoffs with fresh, healthy, ready to go. But that's just my thought. If he does go, right, like he's like an emergency break the glass type player for me.
Yeah.
Really all it takes is one 30, 40, 50-yard run with Derrick Henry. Like if they're going to play him and they're going to give him opportunities, like they're not going to play him to not give him the ball, right? Like even if it's at
least at the goal line. Yeah, right? They give him 5 carries.
5 carries,
3 touchdowns.
Right? Even if it's just first off, it's the Texans. Second off, it could just be one 50-yard, 40-yard run, right? So but that's strictly break the emergency type player for me. Otherwise, I think Deontay Foreman is a borderline RB1. I think Dontrell Hilliard is an RB2. That's probably going to be it for me in this game, though.
Yeah.
Moving on to this next matchup, we got the 6-10 Washington football team traveling to MetLife to take on the 4-12 New York Giants. This game has a 38-point total. Damn, that's low. Washington football team.
Hey, they're not. Vegas knows for a reason.
In terms of the weather here, there's a 60% chance of some thunderstorms and some precipitation in this game during kickoff. In terms of injuries for the Giants, who isn't on the injury report? It's practically everybody. For Washington, Antonio Gibson, he was limited with a hip injury, and Ricky Seals-Jones was a DNP with a concussion. And then cornerback William Jackson was placed on the COVID list. In terms of this game here, I'm going to take the under, even with the 38-point total. I'm going to take the Giants to cover because the Giants are bad, but sleep. Washington is bad too. So I'm going to take the Giants to cover. I'm going to take Washington to win. In terms of the fantasy stuff, Saquon Barkley is an RB2. That's it for me. And whoever the starting running back is for the Washington football team, that's who I want to play. Whether it's Antonio Gibson, if he goes, or it's Jarrett Patterson if Antonio Gibson doesn't go.
I'm gonna take the under as well. I'm gonna take Washington to cover and Washington to win. Yeah, Washington being our stream of the week, I think that has a lot to do with it. It's gonna be thunderstorms too, so the under is definitely a good call. I'm with you. Saquon should get hopefully gets the 20 carries he got last week. He's been getting good volume. I don't think he'll do as much as he can with it. So hopefully he gets a 100-yard day. Definitely, I don't think the potential for a touchdown is low, but if he gets it, that's just a plus. And yeah, that's it. With you on the Washington side, whoever that starting running back is, AJ or Jared Patterson.
AG. But it's okay, I know what you meant. But isn't it just sad that Terry is just gone?
AG.
No, well, Terry, he's just gone. Like,
yeah, it's not his fault though.
I
know.
It's just like
it's crazy.
Like, talk about there's depreciating assets and then there's vanishing assets, right? Like,
you can only play so well with that many bad quarterbacks or like poor quarterback play for so long.
But he just vanished into thin air.
It's crazy.
Like you had a wide receiver 1, and then you had a wide receiver 2, and then you just gone.
Yeah, crazy.
All right, let's move on to this next matchup, the second to last matchup of the 1 p.m. games. We've got the 8-7-1 Pittsburgh Steelers traveling to Baltimore to take on the 8-8 Baltimore Ravens. This game has a 42-point total, where the Baltimore Ravens are 5.5-point favorites. In terms of injuries, Lamar Jackson and Marquise Brown, both DNPs on Thursday with an ankle injury. For Pittsburgh, Deontay Johnson and Joe Hayden were both placed on the COVID-19 reserve list. Greg, where are you at with this game?
I'm gonna take the over. I'm gonna take. I'm gonna take Pittsburgh to cover and Baltimore to win. Baltimore's still just a solid whole team. I think Baltimore's defense gets it done. Big Ben, at least their D-line gets it done. I think the corners still are weak, so I think Deontay Johnson is in a good spot here. Chase Claypool is in a good spot, but he's almost not playable at this point. So I do like Deontay Johnson a lot. Najee Harris, of course, is our RB1, coming off one of his best games of the year for sure, as far as like running production. And on Baltimore side, I doubt he's gonna try, of course, but I doubt he's gonna be out there. So it's gonna be Tyler Huntley again. 2 quarterback league conversation for him as well. I think he's still in that. Hollywood Brown, Mark Andrews. Of course, Mark Andrews has the highest upside of any pass catcher in that team. And as far as the running backs, Devontae Freeman, he's in play.
Yeah, I'm going to take the over here. I'm going to take Pittsburgh to cover. I'm going to take Baltimore to win the game here. Mark Andrews, tight end 1, obviously for sure. Tyler Huntley is a QB1 for me because of the rushing upside that he has. I think last week was more of a result of COVID more than anything else. On the Pittsburgh side, Najee Harris, he's my running back 2 this week behind only JT. Deontay Johnson, if he can go, he's a wide receiver 1. Otherwise, I probably look to Ray McCloud to probably fill that void in terms of the role that he plays within this offense, of that short to intermediate after the catch receiver that this Big Ben really needs. Obviously, a bump for Claypool and Freiermuth in that instance as well, but I think McLeod probably is the one that fills the void. Moving on to this next matchup here, we got the 10-6 Cincinnati Bengals traveling to Cleveland to take on the 7-9 Cleveland Browns. This game has a 38-point total, where the Cleveland Browns are 6-point favorites. In terms of weather here, we're okay. In terms of injuries, Joe Burrow, he was limited with the knee injury. Also is expected to get some rest. Does not expect to play on Sunday. Joe Mixon, among a few others, placed on a COVID list. again, the Cincinnati Bengals are one of those teams. They don't need a whole lot here in terms of they don't need any. There's nothing for them to play for, right? Win or lose, there's really nothing for them to play for. So, not expecting them to put any of their players really at risk. On the Cleveland side, Nick Chubb, he was limited participant with the ribs and a chest injury on Thursday. Kareem Hunt, he was limited with an ankle. The Browns they're eliminated from playoff contention. So they are resting some guys like Baker Mayfield was added to injured reserve, so Case Keenum's going to start. So curious, do they do that with a guy like Nick Chubb? Don't know, but we'll find out on Sunday. But for me, I'm going to take the under here. I'm going to take Cincinnati to cover. I will take Cleveland to win the game, though, especially if Nick Chubb goes. But in terms of the fantasy side, for the Bengals, it's hard for me to trust any Bengal. If Samaje Perine actually is starting, he goes. I think that that's actually a good play, right? And that's actually a really good play. Someone who could be a volume-based RB2 there for you. Jamar Chase, he's a guy that he broke Justin Jefferson's record, but that record is since the merger. He could break the all-time rookie record. He's about 40 or 50 yards short of that. So he could really do that on one play. So if you do have Jamar Chase, again, he's a guy, if he does play, is a strictly the emergency glass type player where, you're kind of hoping he gets that record and in the process maybe scores a touchdown or something. But again, low ceiling, low floor type play there. On the Cleveland side, it's really just Nick Chubb, and that's it.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the under as well. I'm gonna go with Cleveland to cover and Cleveland to win. Nick Chubb is gonna hopefully dominate this game. Definitely gonna dominate this game. He's just been a beast. Definitely was a beast on Monday night against the Steelers. And on the Cincinnati side, I do agree with you. No Joe Burrow, so it's gonna be hard to trust all the pieces around him. But yeah, I think Jamar Chase probably wants this record, so he gets that. But yeah, he could get just the minimum amount he needs and then just go out. So you never really know. It's definitely a risk to have. But yeah, it's a lot of definitely low scores that's going to be this week. This is why you don't play Week 18 finals or last week finals.
Definitely why you don't do that. But with all that being said, me running into some technical difficulties here at the end of this episode, let's wrap it up. We obviously broke down all the 1 p.m. games. If you want to hear the breakdown of the remaining games, just come back Saturday afternoon and you'll get that breakdown. Either whether you listen to it on a podcast platform or watch it on YouTube. Just make sure you subscribe to however it is you're listening to the show, however it is you're consuming the content. But yeah, we'll catch y'all on Saturday. Have a good one. Enjoy some Saturday football, and we're out of here. Peace.
Yeah.